Hello everyone. Namaste, Namaskar, good evening, Sastriyakal. So warm welcome to 1 billion plus fellow Indian. I'm here to talk to you on our Honorable Prime Minister's urge to every Indian to talk about our parliament and our pride. I'm not going to bug you here in this evening that what are the dirty politics being played out. But definitely, I would share my own personal feeling that what is the excitement level that any sensible Indian can have with such a majestic structure that has been put up in record time. Now, very quickly, if we sort of reflect on the present Parliament building, which was built close to a century ago, to be precise, it was built in 1927. And when we got independence in 1947, that was repurposed to house the parliament. And obviously, I'm not getting into the constitutional integrity that how under a bicameral legislative system we had two full-fledged houses for our democracy. I mean, two separate assembly for a full-fledged democracy that we're not getting into. So the summary position is the house is just not enough for the number of people that it is meant to serve. And of course, we will get into the strength of the structure, the safety, particularly against earthquakes, and so many other factors during the course of our next few minutes of conversation. So now, very quickly, why there was an expansion in the first place? And the expansion of this building was primarily not driven by ego of a particular person who generally the opposition prefer to ascribe to. I'm not trying to make a binary position on this, that is government versus opposition. No, I'm not a political person, but at the same time, as a citizen of this country, I think I have every right to take pride in what my country is witnessing today. History in the making. So this expansion of this parliament building was necessitated not just to enhance the capacity, but also to make it modern, and of course the safety of the infrastructure, because against earthquakes are some of the key reasons why a new parliament building was necessary. And a detailed study of the structure by the relevant authorities that suggests that the present parliament house is already, I mean, highly stressed for various reasons. And if we can just list down a few of them, due to paucity of time, we can't have a very elaborate detail, and that's not the sort of spirit. At present, the Central Hall and the Lok Sabha are full to their capacity. And when I say this, basically there is absolutely nothing, no opportunity to expand them any further. So while Central Hall sort of can sit a maximum of 436 individual, Lok Sabha can sit at a maximum 552. And however, during joint session, we know joint sessions are held when one bill gets passed in one house, the other house rejects, then there's a joint session to enable the bill to be passed. Anyway, so without deflecting there, so we can just, it's a very common sense that when we say joint session, that all the members together, irrespective of the membership of the respective house, they come together and sit at one place. So therefore, additional, roughly there are some 200 ad hoc temporary seats are added to the aisles, which is not only undignified, it is also unsafe. Moving on, there are inadequate offices for ministries and facilities like meeting rooms, press rooms, because as we know, governance is, I mean communicating with the subject, with the people as an integral part of the governance. So therefore, meeting journalists and the press is a very important part of any government ways of working. Dining facilities, because there are people who, the ministers, the MPs, the ministerial staffs, the officers, secretaries, there are visitors, so they all have to eat, so there has to be enough dining space. It requires makeshift arrangement, however, they're not always dignified or comfortable. because when you can't, the space is not enough, you do jugadu arrangement, and that doesn't reflect well for the largest democracy on the planet. Moving on to the reason three, if we say over the years, there are many alterations, many additions have been sort of made to the present parliament building in order to keep up with the technological advancement and to remain functional. However, these structural additions and alterations were an ad hoc, and that has severely damaged the building structure. When you do big time rejig to any civil structure, and if you tend to shake the original sort of template, the structure, then you are absolutely doing at your own peril, and that's exactly what has happened in this case. Number four, present parliament houses mechanical, electrical, lighting, acoustic, public address system, audio visual, air conditioning, even security infrastructure is absolutely out of date and needs modernization. So there's no way we could have stayed complacent with what we have today on all those aspects, and these are very important for any office to operate. Number five, if we again extend on the same point, that is addition and alteration to the original design have been executed in quite an insensitive manner, and I'll give an example. That is in 1956, two new floors were added over the outer circular part of the building, which hit the dome of the central hall. So changing the facade, the original, it was a distortion of the original building. And another example could be the covering of those jali windows, which has reduced the ventilation, the natural light in the halls of the two houses of the parliament. So just imagine the lawmakers of this country, the temple of democracy. I mean, those members don't have the liberty to get access to natural air, the sunlight. So the Article 21, so which gives us the fundamental rights to right to life, right to liberty, that itself gets violated if we continue to operate in that building. Moving on, we already covered that strength of the structure, because there is a lack of reliable documentation and drawings in this existing building, which is almost 95 years old, to establish its strength. So the present parliament building cannot be even certified in the absence of a corroborating document whether it is earthquake safe, because the intrusive test to establish its structural strength cannot be carried out, and as such test would severely disrupt parliament functioning. And this is a major area of concern, because the earthquake risk factor for Delhi, which the city in which the parliament is situated, has increased from seismic zone 2 at the time of construction of this building to seismic zone 4, and it's likely to be upgraded to zone 5, and that's not the point of discussion today, which is a narrative for another day, but that's a fact which you can't brush it under the carpet. So keeping that in mind, I think it was inevitable, it was imperative that we must have our own building, which is not only modern, which is not only big enough in terms of catering to the capacity requirement, it is also safe, it is also dignified, it also contemporary to the evolution in the civil structure in this country. And then moving on, there's another area of concern for the building is the safety. Since the colonial era building is not designed according to modern fire norms, and that's very important. We all come across very untoward incident happen, particularly during summer. There are a lot of assaults of fires in the building happens, and the arrangements for evacuation are extremely unsafe in the current building, inadequate in case of an emergency. And in view of all these above reasons, it has been concluded that if the parliament house's infrastructure is to be modernized, its capacity is to be expanded, and its earthquake safety assured, it will not be possible to do so all this by refitting the present building, because you can't have a retrofit to the existing system because of all the reasons that we just spoke about. Therefore, it will be necessary to construct a new purpose designed parliament building in India, and that's what exactly has happened. I think we should keep everything aside, all our political beliefs, ideology, affiliation, conviction, they all can be clubbed together or they can be scattered all over. That doesn't matter, but this should be a binding factor to bring all of us together to celebrate this moment. Let's just celebrate and let's let's take pride in our parliament, because we say, by saying that our parliament is our pride. Thank you. Jai Hind.